It's Wednesday, October 4th at about 11:47 in the morning, and we've come up to the small village of Griffith, northeast of Bancroft, and we're going to walk the Griffith Highland Trail today. This is a 10-kilometer trail that cuts through some of the beautiful scenery up in this area. High hills and rolling landscape on the Canadian Shield landscape. This map shows the general location of Griffith in eastern Ontario, just northeast of Bancroft and off to the west from Ottawa. A more detailed view shows Griffith along Highway 41, and just past the Madawaska River, you take Highland Creek Road north to the start of the trail. Should be a nice walk. We've never been here before, so looking forward to it. We're just going to have a bit of lunch here now at a little lunch stop. Beautiful day, 27 degrees centigrade, clear blue sky, a bit of a breeze. We're a little late getting up here, but we're here. So it's 12:08 and we've had our lunch, and we're now at the Griffith Highlands Trail parking lot. So we're going to start the walk now. It'll probably take 3 hours or so, depending how fast we go, maybe a bit longer. It's 10 kilometers long and quite hilly, it sounds like, so should be interesting anyhow. Looking forward to it. Well, the first thing that's noticeable is that the trail is quite overgrown. It's not a provincial park trail, obviously. It's just a trail that's on Crown land. So there isn't much maintenance or anything going on here. So a lot of the brambles and little shrubs and things are sort of growing out across the trail. But other than that, it's fine. This site is what's known as an area of natural and scientific interest, or an ANSI, which usually means that at some point in the past it was identified to protect a certain range of features, natural features and geologic conditions and whatnot. So far we've been going through a fairly young forest, very young, the outer perimeters. It seems like it's getting a bit older now as we penetrate deeper. But oftentimes ANSI will hold fairly undisturbed habitats that haven't been logged and haven't been altered in major ways. I don't really know the history of this ANSI site, so not sure what the main features of it are, but hopefully we'll see some more undisturbed areas as we move in. As we progress along, we're climbing up in altitude gradually, and the trees are getting larger for sure. Seeing some nice sized poplar and white pine now. So I suspect that will be the continued trend. Condition will improve as we go. Climbing up a fair little slope here, probably 10 or 15 degrees. We're coming up into what looks like an oak savanna almost. Widely spaced oak trees in a granite barren habitat. I think we're coming to the top of this hill. I'm not sure, but it's interesting because it feels like we're hiking in July. It's at least 30 degrees now, and we're supposed to have a humidex of 35, I think. So it's a warm day for early October. So here we're descending down the first mountain side. Back into the shade again, luckily, because up on top there, it was very hot. So much of the higher hilly parts are oak savanna or oak forest on rock barrens. Virtually all red oak. Most of the real pale yellow leaves we see here are striped maple. They seem to be quite common in between the ridges, growing in the little valleys alongside the hilltops. I think we're still ascending the second mountain, and it's quite steep in places. Get you breathing pretty good. I guess the day has something to do with it too, at 30 degrees and high humidity, but had to take the dogs down to a little lake edge so they could get wet because they were getting really hot. We might be on the second top here, I'm not sure. Sometimes you just come out to a small opening and not a great view of the surrounding landscape, but we might still be coming up to it, I'm not sure. I had to get the dogs some water because it's quite hot up here on the barrens. Just like a summer day in July. We just realized on the drive up today that today is Zoe's birthday. So she's 9 years old. And in a month or so, Luna will be 8. So it's hard to believe that they're both that age already. It seems in many ways like we just got them and they were just young pups full of vim and vigor. Crazy how the time flies. Anyhow, happy birthday, Zoe. The main trail is marked by these blue paint markers. I'm not sure if it said that at the start of the trail on the sign or not, but we read that online as well. So you want to keep track of these blue markers. Yeah, so this trail is fairly rough in places. As you can see here, there's fallen trees across the trail in quite a few areas. The brush hasn't been cleared back really from the trail much, so you basically have about a 2-foot walking section, which is fine. It's just not up to the same par as what you'd see in a provincial park or something like that, but obviously this is not a provincial park, so that's fine as well. Just mention it because in some cases the trail can be a little bit hard to discern, especially with all the recent fallen leaves on the ground. On the climb again. This might be the third mountaintop. Wow, look at the scenery here. Beautiful.
These trees haven't changed very much as the other ones, eh?
Nope.
I wonder if they're on a south or would they be on a north? Here we go again.
So I think we're up on the top of the fourth mountain right now. At least that's what it seems like. There's so many up and downs here though, it's hard to keep track. Wow, look at that view. Beautiful. Okay, we're down off the final hill, the number 4 mountain, I guess it is. We're back down into the lowlands where we're getting more shade again, which is nice because it's still very hot in the sun. That was a beautiful view off that last mountaintop. Now we're just going out to find our way out of here. Quite a descent down off that last mountain. We're just walking along an ATV trail here, which I believe it leads us to the trail that heads out over the last section. We've come down off all the highland part now and we're walking along. One thing I might recommend about this trail is just to have a few more signs that sort of indicate where you are on the trail maybe, and signs pointing towards out and in and all that kind of stuff. There's really nothing, so you're left guessing to a large degree. So in looking at the trail map that I took a picture of at the start on my phone, it looks like we might have 2 or 3 kilometers of walking along this wider trail here that we're on now before we find the trail out again. At least it's easy to walk on now. Okay, we're on the little trail leading out of here to the parking lot, so in 10 or 15 minutes or so we should be out back at the car. So that's been a very nice walk. It's fairly challenging, I would say. It's lots of up and downs and fairly steep climbs in places. As I mentioned earlier, about 10 kilometers in length apparently. Now today's been a very hot, humid day, so that's made it a bit more strenuous probably. Very pretty up on the top. The lower sections are fairly standard, I guess, walking through forest type scenery, although a lot of it's oak and maple and pine and stuff. As I mentioned, it's not signed other than the blue paint marks on the trees, but nowhere that I saw does it say go this way or that way or anything. It's just sort of a matter of looking at the map at the start of the trail and trying to estimate where you're going based on the trail that you're walking. A nice day out anyhow, and enjoying the final days of warm fall here. Probably the final days or some of the final days. And if you're interested in getting to a new place, this might be a good one to check out. And it's 3:46 and we're just getting back to the parking lot here, and none too soon. We're both fairly tired and worn out from that hilly hike. But always fun to come and see new trails. And here we are.